Hi, this is Rodrigo from LearnEnglishFast. Now, lots of you might know already that international certifications demand vast knowledge of random subjects in the speaking part of the test, such as talking about flowers, air pollution, crimes, health issues, wedding arrangements, cooking, books, politics, courses, professions, leisure, your future, pretty much anything. So, have you ever asked yourself if you're really ready to answer to those questions? How knowledgeable should you be to talk about many different topics? Well, that's a tricky question, isn't it? So, I'm here to inform you that I'm officially a Cambridge examiner for the speaking test, and I can assure you that the examiner wants to test your language abilities, and that is it. The pressure to know a topic isn't really what you should be worried about, because no matter how much you prepare, there are bound to be topics you haven't heard of or prepared for. However, it's a bonus to know some subjects well enough to being able to talk for 3 whole minutes. In this class, I'm going to show you good enough answers that could easily have scored C1 or even C2 in both IELTS and Cambridge tests, and although I use some rather exquisite words to talk about some easier topics, it isn't compulsory to use refined words or long sentences to appear like someone knowledgeable. Speak the way you're comfortable with, the way you speak generally, because your discomfort can permeate through your body and make you nervous, jumpy. Just make sure that you don't make many grammar mistakes nor repeat yourself too much, as it could compromise the whole coherence of your speech, alright? So, let's start! Question number 1. Describe an occasion when you must be polite. Well, one occasion that I certainly had to be polite was during a job interview. It was for a white-collar job in an events company. And since it was a formal interview, I painstakingly prepared myself and tried to be as professional and cordial as I could. Not surprisingly, a job interview always turns out to be a serious event, despite the efforts of the interviewers to make it more pleasant. Thus, keeping a respectful attitude and behaving politely are important. Aside from that, the company I applied for was pretty renowned in the events industry, so it just made more sense for me to be as affable as possible. The odds of being shortlisted would definitely be higher if I could show my polite attitude, apart from my experience doing all sorts of other stuff. And because I'd gone through some other interviews but hadn't got an answer yet, I felt so jumpy that I couldn't actually sleep the previous night. I didn't want to squander my chance, As it was a formal occasion, I put on a suit and a tie, and despite my fears, the interview ran smoothly. The interviewers were so nice and amiable. They showed no rudeness or aloofness and responded to my greetings in a gentle way. And I remember they even made small talk at first, probably to help relieve my jitters. So, as a result, I kept myself plumb and answered all the questions confidently, though I felt that I had to be wary of being too intimate. Still, as the atmosphere got more congenial, I managed to speak my mind. And it was a tremendous relief when the interview ended, and a few days later, I received an acceptance email from the company and I was placed on a probation period. So I was on cloud 9 and I felt like I was floating on air for the rest of the day, and that's my experience of being unfailingly polite on a particular occasion. That was it. Question number 2. Are teachers paid enough in most countries? Well, as far as I know, when it comes to choosing a career, you don't have to decide between meaning and money. For example, Surgeons earn over £30,000 a month, and almost all of them say their job makes the world a better place for many occupations. So there is a significant disparity between pay and meaning. And due to that disparity, some jobs, like teachers, end up having to abandon the profession they felt so driven to go into. In other words, it isn't uncommon to find engineers who actually dreamed of being a teacher, but has given up because of low salary attractiveness. Just so you know, I read recently that teachers at all grades report consistently high levels of job meaning, but they also declare frequently low rates of pay. Moreover, other teachers report similarly high meaning and poor pay. More than 80% of kindergarten teachers, middle school and secondary school teachers say their job makes the world a better place, but they all earn less than £2,000 a month. And in Brazil, which is where I grew up, they earn as little as £400 a month. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of education to become a teacher, perhaps 4 to 5 years, and in the UK and also in the USA, it has never been a more expensive investment. Teachers are typically required to complete a teaching degree and a preparation program, which sometimes demands a master's degree. And generally, before anybody is allowed to get in front of the classroom, they have to get a state-approved teaching certification, which usually requires spending time as an unpaid student teacher. Another thing to take into account is, even if you are approved in a public university, the majority of times you have to pay to live in a different city or town, which involves the cost of living, plus food, internet services, school material, transport, and being unable to work as most courses are full-time. Not surprisingly, student loan debt has also increased in most countries, so you might have to pay your debts for many years after graduation. And I also read another pay scale report, which I can't remember the name, but I found out that the gender wage gap is largely due to women opting into lower paying professions that give back to the world. The question, of course, is whether those occupations are lower paid because society places less value on jobs that are more focused on bettering society than generating a profit for a company, or maybe because those jobs have historically been held by women, who are less likely to be seen as primary breadwinners and have been less likely to negotiate. And to tell you the truth, the teaching profession is heavily female monopolized, especially for younger students. Question number 3. Is globalization good or bad for developed countries? Opinions surely endure on both sides of the globalization debate. As far as I'm concerned, globalization brings people and businesses together through the international exchange of money, ideas, and culture, even though some critics say it severely affects developed countries. On the other hand, proponents claim lower opportunity costs, producing significant growth and reduced market volatility. On the other hand, opponents decry the decline of domestic job growth, cost of mismanagement to the world, and the stagnation of salaries. On top of that, some country leaders have even been very vocal on their views of globalization, and they have taken a protective posture when it comes to free trade under compliance, sometimes calling for higher taxes on imports and fewer multinational trade agreements. Some have also increased tariffs on foreign goods to discourage their importation, and no matter how much economists are quick to praise the universal benefits of globalization, some politicians and other economists demonize globalization as a force that takes away domestic jobs. But getting back to my opinion, the core benefit of globalization is the ability of one country to produce goods or services at lower opportunity costs than other countries, And while this idea seems simple, it quickly becomes coherent and checked more deeply. For example, a developing country may have a comparative advantage in producing plastic, and a well-developed country may have a comparative advantage in producing technology. While the richer country may be able to produce technology more efficiently than the developing one, it would still be better off focusing on technology because of its comparative leverage. However, the drawbacks of globalization are mainly criticized for taking away jobs from domestic companies and workers. Furthermore, a second criticism would be the high cost of a comparative advantage to a country's own well-being if not managed properly, like China, for example, because it has become a leading worldwide emitter of carbon dioxide thanks to its comparative advantage in manufacturing a wide range of products. That's my opinion. So, that's it. I'd really like to thank everybody for having invested their time watching my video. I'm grateful after recording this challenging speaking lesson, and once again, I have high expectations for this class to be spread all over the country or even internationally. So I need all the help I can possibly get to certify that not only advanced students but also teachers who haven't seized an opportunity to be approved at Cambridge Proficiency Test can receive all my support free of charge. So just subscribe to my channel and make sure you invite all of your friends. Alright, so thank you so much and I hope to see you next time. Cheers!